Niners win. Niners didn't necessarily win, but the Niners make the playoffs. Lions lose to the Steelers. The Sunday Nighter is in the books, by the way. The Pats make the playoffs as well. Who gets Coach of the Year? Do you give it to Ben Johnson? Do you give it to Vrabel? Do you give it to Shanahan? We got a lot to get to. Niners are officially in the playoffs. Let's go. Off and running on the Krug Show Sunday night. Welcome. Sunday, December the 21st, 8:40 West Coast, 11:40 East Coast. Welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. The best barbecue in all of Northern California is at Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera, soon to be in Petaluma. It's the best barbecue in all of Northern California. They're open every day, 7 days a week, from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. I always say it that way because they do run out. So it's not like any restaurant where you just, I'll just roll in there at the last half hour. No, most likely they're going to be out of brisket. They're going to be out of ribs. They're going to be out of something. So get there early, get some brisket, get the brisket chili. The brisket chili is absolutely amazing. Go say hi to Damon and Mary, and thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. We're also brought to you by Sleeper and Habbas Law. We'll talk about them in a bit, but the Sunday night football game has just wrapped up, and it goes to the New England Patriots. And you know what? I think what we're seeing here, guys, is youth is being served. And it's all about youth in the NFL. Probably the best thing the Niners did in the offseason was say goodbye to all the old guys. Because the more youth you have, the better chance you have of having a future. The more age you have on your roster, the better chance that you have that, your run's coming to an end. Kansas City, out. Baltimore no longer controls their own destiny. If the Steelers beat the Browns next week, the Ravens are out. 28-24, Baltimore loses at home. They give up a 15-point fourth quarter to New England. What happened to this vaunted Ravens killer defense? It's amazing. McDonald tucked tail and got out of there and went to Seattle, and with it went his entire defense. Derrick Henry, 18 for 128, 7 a carry, 2 touchdowns, but he had a key fumble. Lamar Jackson, again, did not throw a touchdown. I mean, seriously, look at Lamar's game log. He's really struggled. If you want to look at the game log as far as passing touchdowns, none today. Okay, 2 last week against Cincinnati, 1 the week prior against Pittsburgh, none against Cincinnati on November 27th. None against the Jets on November 23rd. None against the Browns on November 16th. I mean, this guy went like a month without throwing a touchdown pass. 18 touchdown passes, 6 picks on the year. But wow, a lot of that was early. He had 4 against the Browns in September. He had 4 against Miami in October. I take away those 2 games, he's got 10 touchdowns and 6 picks. And in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, he has 3 touchdown passes. 3 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions for Lamar. So, it's funny. It's like when Purdy doesn't do it, everybody just crushes Purdy. He's not him. He's not the guy. He's not this. He's not that. When Lamar doesn't do it, it's like, oh, well. He's still the awesomest. He's incredible. Really? Wasn't incredible today. I saw one incredible quarterback out there, and it wasn't him. He was 7 of 10 for 70 for 101 yards. That's it for the day. They ran it 33 times. Now, they ran it well, 5-2 a carry, but Drake May, on the other hand, threw for 380. 380. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, was sacked 3 times. Pats didn't run it great. Stevenson ran for 6-4 a carry. That's pretty good. But overall, New England only 3-4 at carry. How great was the Stephon Diggs pickup for New England this year? He's been fantastic. They've redone their entire receiving core. Now it's Stephon Diggs, Mac Hollins, Kyle Williams, Hunter Henry. Diggs, 9 catches on 10 targets for 138 yards. And you just kind of wonder. I mean, you look around the NFL, these teams that we all expected to, kind of be there at the end. Are on the, Joe, you think of all the great quarterbacks in the NFL, and you think of Mahomes and Lamar, and these guys are at home. Joe Burrow at home. So it's amazing how that works. It's amazing. This has just been youth is being served. Who's the number 1 seed in the AFC? Denver Broncos and Bo Nix. How about that? Denver's 12-3. Though they struggled today. New England 12-3. Drake May. Jacksonville 11-4. Very young team. And then you got Pittsburgh at 9-6, and as I said, they're 1 win away from clinching that division title and kissing the Ravens goodbye. The Chargers are the 5 seed right now, and then you got Buffalo and you got Houston, and we'll see about Indianapolis. Indianapolis is right now on the outside looking in. They'll be very, very, very motivated on Monday Night Football to beat the 49ers to keep their playoff hopes alive. But yeah, Colts, what a second half slide. And then Baltimore looks old. Kansas City looks old. Joe Burrow was beat up this year. So it's we're at a point now where, the youth is being served. Look how young, look at the teams at the top. Denver's got Bo Nix. New England's got Drake May. You flip it over to the other conference, Seattle with Sam Darnold and a young team. John Schneider's done a really nice job remaking his roster. The upstart Bears with Ryan Poles as the architect and Ben Johnson as the head coach. They're youth is being served in Carolina. They went by the Buccaneers today. They beat them. And now Carolina is the 4 seed in the NFC playoffs, and the Bucs are on the outside looking in. Then you got the young upstart Niners with their 25-year-old quarterback, tons of young players on defense, and they're 10-4. So I mean, it really is. Yeah, Stafford's 38, and the Rams look awesome. There's some there's some older guys. Obviously, if you look at around, there's some age. The Steelers, Aaron Rodgers is still leading the way. I mean, he's got some age on him. Obviously, he's an older player. So it's not like there's no older players that are doing well. But, man, this talk of, like, the chalk being Baltimore and Kansas City and, Joe Burrow, and no. It's the young teams around football, and it just shows how fast it goes. Man, you're just, as a personnel man, you've never arrived. You've never built your roster to the level because there's so much attrition. There's so many injuries. There's so much age. There's so much, guys, careers are so short. You have to keep rebuilding, keep building, keep hitting in the draft. All of a sudden you think you take your foot off the gas pedal like the Niners did a couple years ago. We don't have any needs. We're going to take Jake Moody in the 3rd round because we don't have any needs. We have so many. We can afford to take luxury picks because we don't have needs. We're that good, and you're not going that good. Just when you think you're going good enough where you can take luxury picks, you realize you ain't going that good. Kansas City, hey, you know what? We're on top. We'll let Mahomes pick our 1st round pick. We'll take Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy's a burner. There's no question he can run. Was that the best pick? Really? A speedy receiver who's kind of fragile, doesn't really operate in the middle of the field. Was that really the best pick that Brett Veach could have made? Sometimes, it's, to me, right when I think I don't have any other needs, that's when I would stock up on an area where I'm already really good. Right when I'm, you know what? We don't need this. We're really good there. Maybe add another player there. Because it's, especially on defense, especially at linebacker, The 49ers, I mean, if you said to me, if I could go back in time and change some of the moves the Niners have made, what's one move I'd make? I would have kept Azeez Al-Shaair instead of let him go off to Houston or Tennessee and now Houston. I would have kept Azeez Al-Shaair. Why not? You drafted him. You developed him. He was your guy. He was physical as hell. He was a tone setter. He was violent. He was fast and violent and physical and homegrown. Everything that you wanted. But they couldn't keep him because he's a strong side linebacker. He's only going to play a certain percentage of the snaps in the modern defenses. Yeah, but you forgot the fact that he also was your best backup behind Fred. He was your best backup behind Dre. And then look what happened. They both went down. Imagine where the Niners would have been if they just kept Azeez Al-Shaair. They'd be better off. Be better off right now. They wouldn't have been dancing all these dances with Devondre Campbell and all these guys that can't do it anymore. They would have had Azeez Al-Shaair, homegrown guy who knew the defense. So, sometimes you think you're super loaded. We're so loaded. We can let this guy walk. No, you need to keep your guys if possible. You need to keep all the good football players that you possibly can. But the Niners are in. And, there is a vibe around the 49ers of just get in. Now, what's going to be interesting is, John Lynch was on with Murph and Marcus on KMBR on Friday, and he said, hey, look, we're not worried about this or that. We're focused only on the Colts. We're going there because we're not in the playoffs, and if we can win on Monday night, we're in. All right, well, now you're already in. So now you're already in. Now you're already a playoff team. No matter what shakes out, no matter if you lose the next 3 games, you are going to be no lower than the 7th seed in the NFC playoffs. Now the focus shifts. Now it goes from, hey, man, we need to win to get in to we need to win out to have people roll through Santa Clara and have home field advantage throughout the entirety of the NFC playoffs. And it's not just like another thing. To me, the home field is awesome. But let's be honest, the Niners play well on the road. And is Levi's really some house of horrors for teams that roll in? No. You'd rather be at home. You'd rather be sleeping in your own bed. You'd rather have the crowd behind you. You'd rather be at home. But it's not like that Levi's is some awesome home field. You could make an argument the Niners are as good on the road. Especially the way the Niner fans, proliferate these other buildings. You could make an argument the Niners are as good or better on the road. But you don't want to go to some of these places. You don't want to play the Eagles in Philly if you can avoid it. You don't want to play the Bears in ice cold Chicago if you can avoid it. I think the Niners can beat Seattle, but the 12th man and the noise and all that, do you want to deal with that? Maybe some rain. Brock Purdy struggles sometimes with the wet football. Do you want to go there? No. Do you want to play the Rams in LA? I mean, it's not ideal. I mean, you don't fear any of these scenarios, but you'd rather have these games at home. Bottom line, you'd rather have them at home. I don't think it's a coincidence. The last time the Niners got to the Super Bowl, they played these playoff games at home. But the big advantage is the bye. The big advantage is one fewer game and the bye. It used to be the top 2 seeds in the NFC got the bye. Now it's just the top seed. So, huge advantage for the 49ers if they could win out here. And the Monday night game is, we'll talk about it. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be an easy game. I mean, absolutely is not going to be an easy game. The playoff berth is already clinched, so you've got a little bit of your motivation taken away. If that was your sole motivation, clinch a playoff berth. You got Phillip Rivers over there, who you're not going to be able to fool, right? I mean, there's no coverage, no front, no blitz package, no twist or stunt, nothing. Nothing they do is going to be like Phillip Rivers is going to be like, I haven't seen that, so you can't fool the guy. We don't know if DeForest Buckner is going to go or not, but there's a very good chance that he is. Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts, told me late in the week that he thinks Buckner is going to go, but Buckner did not practice on Saturday. And he did practice last week, and then they opted not to play him. So it might, if he didn't practice on Saturday and he didn't, I'm wondering on that one. Is he going to go or is he not going to go? He's got a neck injury. He's been out a while. That's a game time decision. So that's something to look for during the KNBR pregame show on Monday. Ricky Pearsall is out and did not make the trip to Indianapolis, so he will not be playing. Not be playing. Tatum Bethune is going to play. He returns to face big Jonathan Taylor, who might be the best back in football. And then there's all kinds of, connections between these two teams. John Lynch and Chris Ballard are old buddies. These teams have made trades. There's a lot of speculation coming out of Indianapolis that Ballard with Daniel Jones with the torn Achilles may go to John Lynch and try to trade for Mac Jones in the offseason. So we'll see. Indy's shorthanded in this game. Bernard Ryman is out. So they're out. Brady Smith and Bernard Ryman, they're two starting offensive tackles. They're also down Sauce Gardner and their other starting corner. So they're down their two starting corners and their two starting tackles. The big question for the Niners in this game is, can they stop Jonathan Taylor? They couldn't stop Tyjae Spears. They couldn't stop Tony Pollard. Now they're going to stop Jonathan Taylor, who's 230 pounds and runs in the 4.3s and is having the game, the year of his life. I don't know. We'll see. It's big, we'll see if Tatum Bethune's return makes a big difference or if the Niners just get run over. I mean, that's the one thing. It's like, I think 49ers are the better team. I think the Niners should be able to we're having camera issues. I think the Niners should be able to pass the ball on the 31st pass defense. I don't think the Niners are going to struggle to throw the ball. I think they should be able to throw the ball in this game. The question is, can they stop Jonathan Taylor? And if not, does he just rumble all up and down the field all day? So if he goes for 6-7 yards a carry or 150 plus yards, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day for the 49ers. So can the Niners stop the run? If the season ended right now, Niners would go to the Link and take on the Eagles. And I think that would be a really exciting game. And I think the 49ers would probably win that game. Now, it's hard to say, but I think they'd have a great chance to win it. Shanahan is 8-4 in the postseason. He's really good in the postseason. Oh, there we go. He's been really good in the postseason throughout his career. He's every time the Niners have made the playoffs, he's gotten at least to the NFC Championship game. 4 NFC title game appearances in 7 seasons. He's never lost in the wild card round. He's never lost in the division round, ever, with the 49ers. If they win or if they go to the playoffs, they go to the NFC Championship game. That's been the run. That's been the history of Shanahan here in San Francisco. So there's some key guys that have to step up. Tatum Bethune with the high ankle sprains got to step up against Jonathan Taylor. Darrell Luter Jr. steps in for Renardo Green, who's not going to go with the neck injury. He's got to step up. Alfred Collins has got to step up as well as Tatum Bethune against Jonathan Taylor and plug those holes in the A-gap. Absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. Kendrick Bourne with no Ricky Pearsall. Bourne's got 15 receptions total in the last 9 games. He's got to resurface here without Ricky Pearsall, who's again out with the ankle and the knee injury. So, and then the big question is, what's Robert Saleh going to do game plan wise in this game? Phillip Rivers last week just dumped it off just repeatedly underneath. Didn't drive it down the field at all. Just got it out of his hand. So if you're the 49ers, I would imagine you play man-to-man. You challenge these receivers at the line of scrimmage. You challenge Rivers short, try to take away his first read and force him to throw the ball down the field. And if he can, I'd roll the dice and force him to throw it down the field. And if he can do it, then he's going to beat you maybe on a couple plays. But make him show that he can do it. He hasn't proven that he can do it. The Niners, as we said, control their own destiny. They beat the Colts, they beat the Bears, they beat the Seahawks, and they get the bye. They get the 1 seed in the NFC, and the road to the playoffs or the road to the Super Bowl comes through Levi's. So it's been an exciting turn of events for the 49ers, for sure. And here's Indianapolis. They started 7-1 in their first 8. They've lost Daniel Jones to an Achilles. They've now lost 4 straight and 5 of the last 6. Jones went down with the torn Achilles in week 14. The big question for Brock Purdy is just, can you take care of the ball? 3 interceptions against Carolina the last time he was in prime time. on Monday Night Football. 48 rushing yards, though, the last 2 games. So I think Brock Purdy is proving that he can, that, whether, he might not be 100% with the turf toe, but he's pretty close to it. 48 rushing yards the last couple of games. Colts are 31st in pass defense and are without Sauce Gardner. So, so we got a lot to get to. And let's talk a little bit about some of the games today before we start reading the chats. But just looking at some of the afternoon games, Buffalo. First of all, I guess the morning games. Buffalo beat Cleveland 23-20. All this talk about the Buffalo Bills. Their defense isn't much. They give up 20 to Shador and the Browns. They don't have great weapons. They don't have a great defense. The Bills are going to the playoffs, it looks like, but they don't look like any kind of world beater. That's for sure. I'm not sure what they'll do when they get there, but they don't look great. Dallas is out. Chargers beat them 34-17 in Dallas. I'll tell you, the thing to watch out for the Chargers is they're getting Amarion Hampton rolling. And defensively, they look pretty good. Chargers are not going to be an easy out. I'll say that. They're not going down easily. Chiefs, as I said, lost to the Titans 26-9. They're 6-9. They're 1-6 on the road. They think Gardner Minshew tore his ACL today. So the beat just keeps getting worse and worse for Kansas City. How about Kansas City fans? I really feel for them in some ways. Last week, they went into that game going, look, we're either going to win this game and we got our playoff hopes are alive, or the worst that could happen is we're going to lose the game and it's just not our year. And they went into that game last week thinking, we got a shot at the playoffs, but the worst that could happen is it's just not our year and we lose the game. And then actually far worse happens and they lose Mahomes for the rest of this year and a good chunk of next year. And now you got to kind of wonder, is the window completely closed? Is Andy Reid going to be around in 2 years? Is Spags? Is Taub? Is Kelsey? Is Chris Jones? A lot of talk that they're going to trade their outstanding corner. So it's, there's a lot of shakeup in Kansas City. A lot of shakeup. And it looks like their run is over. That's what it looks like to me. It's a young man's game. So Kansas City loses 26-9 today, and they're just playing out the string. Bengals 45-21 over the Dolphins. I think the Mike McDaniel era is going to come to an end. That's my guess. I think he gets dumped. There's a lot of speculation that he may keep his gig, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to get dumped. Saints beat the Jets 29-6. Do the Saints have their quarterback in the future in Tyler Shuck? He threw for 300 yards today and a touchdown, and the Saints get their 5th win of the year. So that'll be interesting at the top of the draft. Do the Saints, stay with Shuck, or do they invest in another quarterback? The Giants feel like they have their quarterback, right? It was a battle of rookie quarterbacks today at MetLife. Jackson Dart and J.J. McCarthy. And J.J. McCarthy threw for 108 yards and a pick. And won. That's how bad Jackson Dart is right now. Jackson Dart was 7 of 13 for 33 yards. 33 yards. Now it was a windy day and all that, but still, come on. 33 yards. I don't like Jackson Dart. I don't like J.J. McCarthy. I don't like either of those guys. Not a big fan of either of those guys. Panthers beat the Buccaneers 23-20. The Bucs right now are out as it stands. They're 7-8. But Panthers are 8-7. That could be a huge break for the Niners or the other contenders in the NFC because Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans can beat people. I don't know that Bryce Young and Teteroa McMillan can beat anybody. But they beat the Bucs today in Carolina to get their 8th win of the year. So Carolina's improving. Jacksonville, how about the win of the day? Probably was the Jags rolling into Denver, where Denver was 7-0 at home, and they beat the Broncos, and they put up 34. What about this vaunted Bronco defense? So much for that. Travis Etienne had only 16 carries for 50 yards. Lawrence threw for 279 and 3 touchdowns on a day where he was sacked 5 times. Parker Washington, 6 catches for 145 and a touchdown. Man, Brian Thomas still doing nothing. 2 catches for 18 yards. Absolutely nothing. Denver loses. Bo Nix had a touchdown. He also had a pick. Yeah, I mean, 13 tackles for Alex Singleton, 7 tackles and a sack for DJ Jones. He had a couple hits on the quarterback. Denver's got a really good defense, but man, is Jacksonville going to make some noise in the playoffs? Devin Lloyd, Aluakon, they got some guys on defense. So, and they're playing well. BJ Green had a sack, the rookie from Colorado. Trayvon Walker had 3 hits on the quarterback today. Eric Armstead had a hit on the quarterback. Jacksonville had 5 hits on the quarterback. By the way, Denver had 14 hits on Trevor Lawrence and lost 34-20. That's a big one. That is a big, big win for the Jaguars. Big win for the Jaguars. And the stats were really even. 22 first downs for Jacksonville, 21 for Denver. Denver had 445 total yards, almost 100 more total yards than Jacksonville. Denver ran for almost 6 yards a carry. It's crazy. But that's turnovers in the NFL. Jacksonville is really good at taking the ball away. And that's what they did today. They had two takeaways. They were +2 in turnovers. They won the time of possession, 33 minutes to 26. You're +2 in turnovers. You got a chance to win. They were +2 in turnovers. They won. So Jacksonville's 11-4, 5-2 on the road. Look at that. First home loss all year for Denver. Denver's still the number 1 seed at 12-3. But they're beatable. They're very, very beatable. I know Denver fans don't want to hear that, but that's the fact. The game that nobody should have watched was Falcons Cardinals. Falcons defensive line, just too much for the Cardinals. 26-19, the final in the desert. Jacoby Brissett took the loss. Kirk Cousins threw for 2 touchdowns in the win. And how about Arizona? They ran for 5-7 a carry and lost. Big day for Elijah Higgins, the former Stanford star, 7 catches for 91 yards. Michael Wilson, 2 catches and a touchdown, 52 yards. And 11 tackles for Akeem Davis-Gaither, 11 tackles for Dadrion Taylor-Demerson, 10 tackles for Budda Baker. And the Cardinals wind up losing again. So Cardinals are not great. Denzel Burke had a pick, though. C.J. Henderson also had a pick. Atlanta, 6-9 on the year. Cardinals, how about this for the Cardinals? I mean, I like Jonathan Gannon, but how do you come back from this? You're 3-12 on the year. You're 1-7 at home. That's awful. 1-7. That's just not very good. 1-7 at home. I mean, that's hard to keep your gig. It's hard to keep your gig when you're 1-7 at home. Poor camera keeps going in and out. I don't know why we're having that camera issue, but we'll get that rectified. Steelers, so that was the morning games. The afternoon, Steelers beat the Lions 29-24. Wild game that went back and forth. Goff threw for 364 yards. Detroit had a chance late. There was 31 points scored in the fourth quarter alone in that game. That is wild. And it went back and forth, and Detroit had a shot late. Detroit just didn't run it at all today. No balance at all against the Steelers. 12 runs, 54 passes for Jared Goff. You think they missed Ben Johnson? Detroit's 8-7, 5-3 at home. Amon-Ra, 4 catches for 54 yards. That's it. They held Jahmyr Gibbs to 7 carries for 2 yards. That's incredible. Huge day for Jaylen Warren. He had 14 for 143 and 2 touchdowns, averaged over 10 yards a carry. Kyle Duggar had some big plays in this thing. 7 tackles, 6 solo. He had a sack. He was awesome. Jack Campbell had 16 tackles for Detroit, but Detroit falls in this game. The Steelers, 9-6. Mike Tomlin, they're going to make the playoffs if they can beat the Browns next week. And Detroit needs some help, but that, we'll see. We'll see if I kind of want to see Detroit beat the Bears in Week 17. I don't know if they're going to do it, but I'd love to see it. I would love to see that. So that was a big game for sure. Steelers Lions. What a great win for the Steelers and for the Lions. There was a penalty on St. Brown that negated Jared Goff's winning touchdown. Wild finish. And so the Lions are on the brink of playoff elimination now. Jared Goff had a touchdown on the final play, and it was negated by an offensive PI penalty on Amon-Ra. And now, Steelers have now won 3 straight. They had a little midseason slump, but they are in the AFC North lead with 2 games remaining. So they're in control. And Detroit's struggling. They've dropped 2 straight games for the first time in more than 3 years. So they're beat up right now. And losing Brian Branch really hurt them. The Lions have not been eliminated from the playoffs. They have an 8% chance of earning a spot. So Goff had a couple touchdowns. He had 2 of his 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. But Detroit's defense, what has happened to Detroit's defense? I mean, seriously. Pittsburgh offensively put up 481 yards. 481 yards. It's a season high. Rodgers was 27 of 41 for 266. He had a 45-yard touchdown pass to Kenneth Gainwell to close the first half. That was initially ruled incomplete and then changed to a touchdown after the review. So Goff was sacked by a blitzing Kyle Duggar for a safety to give the Steelers a 12-10 lead in the third quarter. That was a great pickup, by the way, by Omar Khan, trading for Kyle Duggar. 22nd straight season for the Steelers with at least a 500 record, breaking an NFL record previously shared with the Cowboys, who had a 21-year run without a losing season from 1965 to 1985. Mike Tomlin has finished at 500 or better in each of his 19 seasons in the NFL. I mean, that's tremendous consistency. It really is. So you tip your cap to Tomlin. I don't think they're going to do anything, but also in the playoffs. But you never know. They're going to be dangerous because everybody knows the stat that the Steelers haven't won a playoff game since like 2016. So they're going to be hell-bent to get that done. So they're going to be a tough team, I think, for whoever plays them in the playoffs. Texans, a lot of people like the Texans as a Super Bowl team. They were life and death today at home to beat the Raiders. 23-21, Texans get the win. Raiders fall to 2-13, 1-7 on the road. Texans go to 10-5. I don't think people realize Texans started this year 0-3. They were 0-3. They were totally done. C.J. Stroud threw 23 of 35 for 187. Woody Marks was hurt today, so they leaned on Nick Chubb and Jawar Jordan. And it was just enough. Ashton Genty ran for over 5 yards a carry, 24 carries for 128 yards. He also had a 60-yard reception. And Nico Collins, 4 catches for 59 yards. So Houston gets the win, but it wasn't a great win for Houston. They had 3 sacks on the day, so those are good numbers. Stingley had a pick. So Houston gets a win over a bad Raider team that's kind of playing out the string, and you kind of wonder if Houston just kind of rolled their jocks out there and said, "Hey, let's just see if we can just get a win easily." And then, as we just said, the Pats over the Ravens, 28-24. And do you believe in Drake May? I really do. I'm starting to believe Drake May is really special. 31 of 44 for 380. I mean, he looks good. Diggs has given them a true number 1. They got a couple different backs they can run it with. Their O-line's still a little banged up, but defensively they're playing well. They really are. They only got 1 sack of the quarterback today from Anthony Jennings, but 5 hits on the quarterback. And they beat the Ravens in Baltimore, which is a difficult thing to do. And they put up 28 in the process, and so much for the awesome Raven defense. Roquan Smith had 10 tackles. They had 4 sacks and 10 hits on the quarterback. The Ravens did, but they at the end they couldn't defend New England at all. New England just did whatever they wanted to do. So there you go. That's the recap of Week 16 around the NFL, and it wraps up Monday night in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis as the Niners are a 5.5-point favorite. The over-under is 45.5. What is the bowl that you guys are dreaming of? Because to me, I want to see Niners Pats. I want to see Drake May against Brock Purdy, and I do think it's about who's next. It's about who's going to elevate in the post Mahomes period here. Josh Allen. A lot of people think Josh Allen should have a ring by now. He doesn't have one. A lot of people feel like Lamar should have a ring by now. He doesn't have one. A lot of people feel like Joe Burrow should have a ring by now. He doesn't have one. So it's really Mahomes who's been dominating the rings, and then Hurts won one last year. But it's wide open for which young quarterback is going to kind of take control of this period of time. Is it going to be Bo Nix? Is it going to be Drake May? Is it going to be Trevor Lawrence? Is it going to be Justin Herbert? Is it going to be C.J. Stroud? Is it going to be Sam Darnold? Is it going to be Caleb Williams? Is it going to be Bryce Young? Or is it going to be one of the old guys like Hurts or Rodgers, Stafford? Or is it going to be Brock Purdy? And I think it might be Brock Purdy's time. Brock Purdy's playing at a really, really high level. Can he continue to play at this level? That's the question. And I don't know. Not really sure what level Brock can play at. All right, let's hit a couple supers here. Welcome to the Krug Show, and we should tell you we're brought to you all season long by Sleeper. Our good friends at Sleeper are proud sponsors of the Krug Show. Love Sleeper, by the way. We've had a lot of fun with Sleeper this year on the Krug Show, and the entire season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and of course Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry. Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, I'm not sure, Kevin, we can do a lineup tonight or not. I'm not sure if we're gonna do a lineup or not. But we should definitely put this up there so people can see there we go. You get $100 deposit match up to $100. Use code Larry. Don't forget to use code Larry or you won't get the deposit match. All right, we are going to do a lineup. We're going to do a lineup right here. So let's take a look at Niners Colts. I got a few thoughts on this one. Okay, so let me take a look at Kendrick Bourne. Now that we know that Kendrick Bourne is going to play in this game for Pearsall, I think this is the game to go all in on Kendrick Bourne. Why? Because this is the 31st run defense or 31st pass defense, and he's ready to. He's there. He's ready to make plays. He's just not getting the ball. So here's Kendrick Bourne. I definitely like more on the 22.5 receiving yards. Love that. Love that for Kendrick Bourne. Now that I know Ricky Pearsall's out, that's a lock. All right, that's number one. Give me a little Tyler Warren. The one thing about last week with Indianapolis, they didn't get Tyler Warren involved. They're going to get him involved in this game. He's going to get at least 4 catches. Niners have struggled to defend the tight end, so we'll go more than 3.5 catches. For the rookie, Tyler Warren. All right. Let's take a look at Brock Purdy. I love the Brock Purdy rushing stat. I think it's a real good one here. The longest run. So that number's moved up. We did this the other day. It was 9.5 rush yards. And look at that. It's now 11.5 rush yards. We're going above that. Brock Purdy runs in games that matter. And he runs generally, he's not looking to run, but I think he'll run. He runs when he gets pressured. He runs when he needs to. He's like Mahomes. So I'm going to say Brock Purdy's going to run there. All right, let's go Juwan Jennings anytime touchdown. Jennings has done nothing but score touchdowns all year. Ball finds him in the red zone. He scores touchdowns. Let's go Jennings anytime touchdown. And let's go Jonathan Taylor. Let's take a look at Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor. Okay, so 122 rushing / receiving yards. That's a high number. That is a high number. 22 and a half rush attempts. Do they hand him the ball a ton? Do they give him an anytime touchdown? I don't love the 79 and a half rush yards. I don't love that. Let's go with, I like the 49ers to put up points in this game. So let's go with the rush attempts less. Let's say he doesn't get 23 rush attempts. I would say he doesn't get 23 rush attempts. So we'll go there. All right, let's take a look at what we got. Let's put that together. And what do we got? 5 to win 97-40. So Bourne's got to have 23 receiving yards. Jennings has got to score a touchdown. Purdy's got to have 12 rushing yards. Jonathan Taylor's got to have less than 23 rush attempts. And Tyler Warren's got to have at least 4 receptions. You know what? I don't feel good about that Taylor one. Let's take the Taylor one out. Something about the Taylor one makes me a little nervous. Can we take that out? Oh, we can cancel that entry. Uh-oh. So we have to do the whole entry again? Is that what happened? Let's take that one out and just go with what we had. What could be the last one? Maybe a CMC. Let's take a look at CMC and not Taylor. Okay, we got all those. Let's take a look at CMC. Christian McCaffrey. Okay. I like McCaffrey more than that's tough. I'm gonna say more. Give me McCaffrey more than the receiving yards. Let me go 41 receiving yards for McCaffrey. You know, the fact that the Colts are 31st against the 31st rated pass defense, you know, the Niners like to throw it to McCaffrey. So let's go with that. 41 and a half receiving yards for CMC, 23 receiving yards for Bourne, an anytime touchdown for Jennings. Purdy's got to have a 12 yards of rushing, and Tyler Warren's got 4 receptions. All right, I love it. 5 to win 91.45. 5 to win $91.45. And if you haven't signed up for Sleeper yet, now's the perfect time. Use my code to get a free $20 no deposit required. Plus, first-time users still also receive a 100% deposit match up to $100, and you'll give yourself a shot to win 1,000 times your cash. Even better, anyone who trails this community-built slip gets a chance to win $100 to use on Sleeper. Just send a screenshot of your slip with these picks to hmasleeperpicks@gmail.com and include your Sleeper username in the email to enter. We're doing this every week throughout the month of December. Don't miss out. Thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, good one there. Good one there from Sleeper. All right. Couple thoughts on this one. You know, on where the Niners are right now. First of all, we didn't even talk really about the Aiyuk thing, but Aiyuk, there's an interesting article right now that suggests that the Niners may actually wind up trading Aiyuk in the offseason. And there's lots of reasons why they would trade him as opposed to release him. But can they even get to the offseason? I mean, this guy's just killing his value with every single move. He's just killing his value. The latest one on the Instagram, he posted himself going over 100 miles an hour in like a 25 mile an hour zone around the stadium. You're driving by the stadium super fast. I mean, it's weird. It's like somebody broke up with some girl and I'm going to speed by her house at midnight every night. And it's like, what? I mean, why? Just move on, bro. Just move on. But I mean, it's like, this is go. I mean, one thing you're just like, at first it's just like, hey, Brandon's into cars. And then, like a lot of young guys, he's driving fast. But I mean, come on, man, you're driving 100 miles an hour. Now you're a menace to society. I mean, see Henry Ruggs. Now, I'm not saying that Aiyuk was drunk, because Aiyuk probably was not drunk. and Ruggs plowed into a woman going, in her car going, she was parked, I think, and he was like going like really, really fast, like maybe like over 75, 80 miles an hour. And she died. And he's in prison. And his life is ruined. He may get out eventually, he may get another chance at an NFL career, but I mean, not to say that Aiyuk was drinking because there was no proof of that. But I mean, still, it doesn't matter. You're driving, you're driving 75 and a 55. Okay, all right. What we all go a little too fast from time to time, but you're driving 100 miles an hour on city streets in the daytime by the stadium. What if there's just some poor person stepping off a corner? What if you lose control of your vehicle? I mean, that level of recklessness is just awful, And, the greater good must be served. I mean, it's all about, serving the greater good in our society. And that means abiding by the rules, abiding by the laws, and not driving recklessly and potentially risking somebody's life, including your own. So, I mean, it's sad. It's almost like a cry for help. And then to then have that kind of behavior and then to decide you're going to celebrate that kind of behavior. And then you're actually going to put together a post and tell everybody that it's like, that's kind of like, I'm untouchable. I'm unassailable. There's no way anybody can touch me. It's just it's a young man living life in the fast lane, feeling impenetrable, and the reality is that life is fragile. And gosh, I mean, I saw that and I was like, this guy seems like he's just crashing and burning. So, and I hope that doesn't happen to him, metaphorically or literally. So very sad. And obviously there's a lot to be concerned about there. I mean, what is going on there? What is going on with Brandon? The fact that he's kind of disconnected from his football family at this juncture probably is not a good thing. Probably not a good thing at all. So anyway, that's just something to think about. But Lynch was asked about Aiyuk on Friday by Murph and Marcus and was like, hey, and this is, before that came to light, but he still is like, hey, we'll deal with that in time, but we're focused on the Colts, and only the Colts. But what a crash from you have all this money guaranteed to it all goes away. And now your knee is broken, your body's broken, your opportunities, you're going to have to sign the kind of a prove it deal no matter where you go. And do you still have the ability to prove it? I mean, this guy had to wait a long time for his big payday, and then he got it and then somehow blew it up. Unthinkable. Just unbelievable. If I was his financial advisor, I'd be lecturing him left and right. All right, let's hit some supers. We got this one from Joseph Ernberg. Larry, I am pissed drunk, and I'm at my max amount of hate. I like that. Just don't drive anywhere. Harry Johnson says, F you, Larry. We got a chance. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you, Harry. Ernberg, F you, Lawrence. I'm drunk on whiskey, and I hate Brock. Oh, my God. Don't go anywhere, Ernberg. Happy holidays. Titus Moeller's in the house with no Pearsall. I hope Watkins gets a chance to shine. What is the minimum complement of weapons that you think we need to make a Super Bowl run? You got to have somebody who can run. Whether it be Pearsall, Cowing, Watkins, somebody who can run's got to be out there. I'd like to see Watkins. I'm not a believer that he doesn't look good. I just am not. To me, he looks exactly like the guy that I saw this summer. Get him out there, man. Get him out there. Seriously. I mean, I know the Niners without Pearsall are going to run to get Bourne involved, and that's why I went with Bourne in our breakdown there and our sleeper picks. But I mean, the guy that they really got to get going is Watkins. If they could get Watkins going. And here's the thing. You threw him one pass, maybe two all year. You had endless end arounds for slow as molasses Debo. How about an end around to a guy that can actually get around the end? Dare to dream. It's funny when we start asking Kubiak about it, he makes it seem like, oh, yeah, this guy's on the verge. He's right on the verge. Really? Sorry if I'm losing confidence. It's December 21st. Oh, yeah, we love him. He's great. Yeah, he's just waiting on his opportunity. His opportunity's just coming right around the corner. Really? It's going to be a neat little trick. Use this guy. You're not 10 times smarter than everybody else. You're not. The guy scored 9 touchdowns in the SEC last year. That's the highest level of college football. Use this guy. And if he doesn't have the great timing or whatever, then use him put him on an end around. He's 200 pounds. He runs in the 4.3s. The Niners don't have anybody replicating this guy's level of explosiveness, and that they show no interest, none, at getting the ball in his hands. It's like, guys, don't you realize that your defense ain't getting any better? You're going to have to win this bad boy with your offense, and that means you're going to have to score 30. So you may want to start thinking of how to be a little bit more diverse and explosive and multifaceted and a little bit more, quick score ability. It's like, yeah, you want to play ball control, but what happens if you get into a game and you fall behind by 2 touchdowns against the Bears or somebody like that, and you need a quick score? New England got a quick score. They went up top to Diggs. Who's your Diggs? Who's your quick score guy? Bourne? JJ? Kittle? I mean, you see what I'm saying? Pearsall hasn't scored a touchdown all year. You need to get some vertical. Some explosive weapon needs to play. Now, Cowing's not ready to play physically. Pearsall's not ready to play physically. We've been told Watkins is not ready. I don't believe them. I want to see it. I want to see him out there. And I don't believe them. I believe that he's actually a really good player, that when he plays, we're all going to sit there and go, this guy looks pretty damn good. Where's he been? So, yeah, I would say they need to have some element of speed. They can use Sky Moore. It can be Sky Moore. It doesn't have to be Watkins. They got to use somebody. They got to find some vertical. They got to find some explosive. They lack it. Mendez is Mac Jones to the Colts for DeForest Buckner. I was thinking Mac Jones to the Colts for a second-round pick and Anthony Richardson. I'd even take Riley Leonard. I'm a big Riley Leonard fan. I'd take Riley Leonard at a second-round pick for Mac Jones. I like Riley Leonard. But I'd rather have Anthony Richardson just because I think Richardson's got some intriguing potential. 510-Steve says, first ever grandfather game plan Robert had. Yeah. Yeah, he's going to have attack the grandfather. Sounds terrible. Anthony Catania's in the house, and one of our sponsors, Sharp Corners, Sports Cards, and Collectibles. Anthony's offering free shipping to all Krug Show listeners and watchers between now and the end of the year. So Anthony in Sharp Corners, Sports Cards, and Collectibles is at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Anthony's at 831-521-5264. He's a great follow on Instagram at Sharp Corners 831 on the gram. And thanks to Anthony for providing the Ricky Pearsall mini autographed helmet that we auctioned off or raffled off, I should say, during the Krug Show meet and greet at Pig and a Pickle. Very cool. Very cool. One young fan got the Ricky Pearsall mini autographed helmet as his parting gift. And Anthony says, another great show. Give me the Panthers to beat the Seahawks next week. Go Niners. Ooh, that would be great. Now, how does that work? What if that happened and the Niners beat the Bears? Would the Niners be the number 1 seed even if they lost to the Seahawks in that scenario? I don't know. I don't know that answer. But Anthony, great to hear from you. We also have San Fran Trader. He said 49ers win the Super Bowl at 20-1. Worth a shot, you think? I absolutely think. Brock Purdy's playing well right now. He's playing well. This is the Brock Purdy that I saw in training camp. That's why I was so bummed out by the turf toe, because he looked awesome in training camp. And I wasn't sure how he was going to come back. And he's looked really good the last couple of weeks. San Fran Trader, who you got winning college football championship, Larry? I like A&M. Oh, they're out. I liked A&M. Well, okay. I mean, first of all, I wish they didn't have Oregon playing JMU the other day. That's a mismatch. And Alabama spotted Oklahoma 17 and then came back and beat them 34-24. I love Jeremy Bernard, that receiver for Bama. So what do we got? We got Ole Miss and Georgia in the sugar. We got Oregon and Texas Tech in the quarters in the Orange Bowl. We got Bama and Indiana in the quarters in the Rose. That's gonna be a tough game for Indiana. I want to say Indiana. I kind of think the Buckeyes have the most talent. It's usually safe to just go with the most talent, but I'm gonna go with Texas Tech. I'm gonna go with Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech's got some magic. There's just a lot of really good football players on that Texas Tech defense, and they're just really good across the board. Skyler, Gil, Howard, they got a bunch of guys on their defensive front, in the secondary, at linebacker, all three levels of the defense. I like Texas Tech. Oregon's 12-1, and they face Texas Tech in the quarterfinals in the Orange Bowl, and I think Texas Tech's going to get them. And I'm going to go with the Red Raiders. It would be easy to go with Ohio State and just say, that's the chalk pick. By the way, how bad was A&M? At Kyle Field, Marcel Reed was horrible. Just couldn't see the field. 2 picks. A&M couldn't run it at all. They got multiple running backs. They couldn't run. Reed looked terrible. Absolutely terrible. So, Hurricanes have a really Mesidor and Bain off the edges. My God. Hurricanes are going to bother Buckeyes in the Cotton Bowl, but Buckeyes are still going to win. But yeah, I say ride Texas Tech. I like Texas Tech. That's the team I would go with. All right, that's going to do it for us. We're exactly an hour in, almost. We're coming up on 3 minutes into an hour. But that's going to do it for us. Tomorrow, Monday, I got to get to bed because I'm filling in tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. with Dieter Kurtenbach on the KMBR Morning Show. So for those looking for a Monday wake up, Damon and I had said on Friday, catch us on Monday and Tuesday. You know what? I actually scratched that. It would just be me and Dieter on KMBR tomorrow between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. Then I will rest up really fast, get ready for the Monday night game, do a little pregame. I'll do a little hit with Papa and Silver in the mid-morning. Then I'll be on the pregame show on KMBR, the postgame show on KMBR, and then Kev will join me with Frank and Danny and everybody, Rye and everybody for the postgame. So we'll do a little postgame. And then Tuesday, we'll have our wake up. So no wake up on Monday. Tuesday, wake up. We're going to push it back from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. because it's going to be a hellish night, late night. So we're going to push it back. So catch Damon and I Tuesday. We'll gladly pay you on Tuesday. We'll gladly stream on Tuesday. So Tuesday at 10 a.m. Check that out. Then we got kind of a holiday schedule this week, so I'm trying to do a stream on Tuesday with Peter Vesey, longtime NBA guy. Me and Frank Red are going to do something on Tuesday, I think, with Peter Vesey. But there will be no Niners Nightly throughout the week this week because of the Christmas holiday. But we will be there tomorrow for pre and post, and you'll catch me tomorrow morning on KMBR's morning show sitting in for Brian Murphy and Marcus Boucher with the great Dieter Kurtenbach. All right, that's going to do it for us. We should also thank our good friends at Habbas Law. Habbas Law does an amazing job. I love Habbas Law. And 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. Omar and Tara Habbas are fantastic guys. And they run a great law firm. Habbas Law is fantastic. I mean, they really, really are. They will fight to make it right. These guys will battle, and they'll go to bat for you. So, if you're in the mode where, man, you're like, I'm in a situation where I need a personal injury attorney, go get the best. Go get Omar Habbas, Tariq Habbas in the Habbas Law team. So when Habbas Law, when they go up against the big insurance companies, the ones that love to stall and deny and hope that you'll eventually give up, They don't blink. They grind them down. They expose every weakness. Habbas Law, they hit with strategy, pressure, relentless preparation, because Habbas Law knows every inch of the Bay Area legal playing field. Nothing, and I mean nothing, catches Habbas off guard. If you've been injured and you want to win, there's only one call to make. Visit HabbasLaw.com. Habbas Law, they will fight to make it right. HABBAS Law.com, 1-800-INJURED. Habbas Law, fantastic personal injury attorneys, 1-800-INJURED. Habbas Law, they will fight to make it right. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to Sleeper. Thanks to Habbas Law. Thanks to our good friends at Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. And we'll see you later this week. We got stuff coming up tomorrow morning on the radio. Check that out. Until then, peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful.